In 19th century Spain, Diego, son of Lucia and Salvador, is a cowardly boy who is frightened by anything, even the wooden totems in his room. One night he wakes up needing to go to the bathroom. He takes his chamber pot, but upon finding one of the totems on the floor, he startles, drops the pot, and breaks it. He goes to his parents to ask for company, so his father accompanies him with a shotgun. Every small noise scares Diego, even the whisper of the trees, but he manages to finish. Upon returning to the house, Diego approaches Lucia because he is afraid to sleep alone, and Salvador takes his room. The next morning, Salvador tries to teach him to kill a rabbit, but Diego refuses, too fearful of hurting a defenseless animal. By accident, he drops the rabbit, which runs through the grassland. Diego tries to follow it, but stops upon reaching the boundary marked by wooden posts similar to scarecrows that they cannot cross because it is considered dangerous. Lucia comforts Diego, telling him he does not have to kill the rabbit if he does not want to, while Salvador insists that he must learn to be a man. Although Salvador tries to continue teaching him, Lucia calls him to help her cook. The couple seems cold toward each other, arguing about Diego's upbringing, but it is clear that the boy prefers his mother. Diego asks what will happen to the rabbit that crossed the boundaries, and Lucia answers honestly, only bad things await it because of the war. Lucia raises Diego with much love, spoiling him, letting him treat animals as pets, playing with him, and even bathing together. On Diego's birthday, he spies on Salvador preparing a gift in the attic, but his father drives him away. Then he watches his mother, and upon seeing him, she lets him enter. Lucia prepares for the occasion with a special red dress that Salvador had made for her before they isolated themselves. During the birthday meal, Salvador gives Diego a shotgun with his name engraved on the handle. Although Diego says he does not know how to use it, Salvador is eager to teach him. Lucia disapproves of the gift, saying that Diego is very young. To distract him from practicing with his father, Lucia gives him her gift, a tin can telephone with string. They play I Spy, and then she tells him scary stories for fun. Diego asks for another horror story, but not remembering any, Salvador begins to tell a legend about a beast that feeds on people's fear. Lucia begs him not to, but he continues, recounting the story of a tall monster, with hollow cheekbones and empty eyes, that slowly follows its victim, absorbing their fear. Salvador claims the legend is real, but before continuing, Lucia stops him and takes Diego to bed. The next morning, Diego calls Salvador pointing at a boat slowly approaching along the river. Salvador takes the shotgun and tells him to go back to the house, but Diego stays close to his father. In the boat, they find a gravely wounded man, with signs of having tried to cut his throat. Although injured, he is still alive, so Salvador runs to help him, thinking he may have been a victim of the war. Meanwhile, Lucia takes the opportunity to tell Diego how horrible the world beyond their land is, full of bad people. While they sing together, the mysterious man enters the house, sees Diego, and points toward the horizon, as if perceiving something the others cannot. Suddenly, he takes the shotgun, and Lucia places herself in front of Diego to protect him. But surprisingly, the man shoots himself. Lucia covers Diego's sight as Salvador arrives worried. Then they clean up the mess and argue about what to do with the body, until Salvador finds a family portrait among the man's belongings. Diego asks about the man's family, and Lucia shouts at him to go to his room. That night, Diego checks the man's things, but Salvador tells him not to touch anything. Then he sits with him at the table and watches as his father examines old scars on his palm. Alone with his father, Diego asks him to continue with the story of his sister and the beast. Salvador tells him that his sister, mistreated by their parents, began to see the beast. Each day it came closer, until one day she saw it enter her room. One morning, Salvador discovers that his sister threw herself out of her bedroom window. The next day, Salvador decides to take the man's body to his family, but Lucia begs him not to do it, believing it is only an excuse to leave them. Diego also tells him it is dangerous, but Salvador has already made his decision, telling his son to take care of his mother while he is gone, without looking back. On the first night without Salvador, Lucia and Diego cannot sleep, both needing to go to the bathroom. Without Salvador to accompany them, they try to face the darkness, but fear makes them return with 2 chamber pots in hand. Although they try to continue with their daily routine, they feel Salvador's absence. Lucia becomes distracted, waiting for his return, while Diego tries to convince himself that he will come back soon. Lucia's birthday arrives and Diego, wanting to cheer her up, bakes her a cake, gets dressed up, and asks her to make a wish. When he tries to play I Spy with the tin can telephone, Lucia refuses, so Diego insists. They go outside, but before they can play, Lucia shouts for him to go inside and runs out with the shotgun. She checks the area, finds nothing, and goes back inside with Diego to hide. That night, Diego has a nightmare with Juana, Salvador's sister, pointing at the beast. He follows her and sees her jump out the window. One afternoon, during a storm, while they are having dinner, Lucia hears a suspicious noise and stands up. Diego hands her the shotgun, but she hesitates, thinking it may be Salvador. Lucia points at a figure among the scarecrows and begins to shoot, but the storm prevents her from seeing clearly. She goes out to get closer and Diego shouts for her to come back. Later, she returns inside and says she got rid of the threat. The next day, Lucia's mental health worsens. She ignores Diego and scolds him if he tries to go outside. Even so, the boy is stubborn and opens the door, encountering a scarecrow dragged by the storm. They decide to return it to its place. Diego talks to the rabbits, but Lucia orders him to choose one to eat. Although he resists, he finally chooses one, but hides while Lucia sacrifices it, refusing to eat afterward. He goes out angrily, followed by Lucia, who points the shotgun at something behind him. Suddenly, the wind drags the sheets from the clothesline, trapping Diego underneath them. He hears Lucia shouting while shooting at something in the distance. When he manages to free himself, he sees his mother aiming and concludes that it must be the beast from the stories. Lucia assures him it is not real, explaining that Juana committed suicide because of the abuse from their parents. As Lucia sinks deeper into madness, Diego tries to play with her, but she pushes him away. Suddenly, a loud noise startles them. Something hits the door. Lucia orders Diego to open it while she waits with the shotgun. To their relief, it is only Salvador's horse. Happy, Diego runs outside shouting for his father, but there is no sign of him. Suddenly, he hears a gunshot followed by the door closing. He runs back and sees the tall beast waiting in front of the door. Frightened, he hides in the bathroom and watches it pass through the cracks. Upon returning to the house, he sees Lucia crying, trying to process what she saw. The creature, which did not move even after she shot it at point-blank range. Diego checks his father's belongings, but Lucia tells him he will not return. Anxious and desperate, she destroys the table to use the planks as barricades at all the entrances. Diego runs outside worried about the rabbits, and Lucia follows him shooting into the air to protect him while he gathers the animals. Upon returning, Lucia hits him, telling him never to do that again. The next morning, Lucia tries to teach Diego to kill with a knife, but he refuses. He prefers to shoot, but they only have 2 bullets left. The days pass and Lucia's madness worsens, while Diego clings to the hope that Salvador will return, or at least that his mother will improve. One day, Diego sees the beast watching them from the window and hears it climbing onto the roof. Lucia forces Diego to climb up the chimney and shoot it, but he screams in fear. As he falls, Lucia shoots blindly, almost hitting him, but they lose it again. Worried, Diego tries to take the last bullet while Lucia is distracted, but she discovers him. He hides in a room, begging her to stop. Lucia repeatedly bangs on the door, then calms down. Diego finds her talking to the tin can telephone, wishing for Salvador to return and saying that the beast is getting closer and closer. She hands him the telephone, and upon hearing something inside the house, he sees his mother hanging herself. Desperate, Diego cuts the rope and ties her to the bed so she cannot harm herself again. To feed her, he kills a rabbit and tries to make her eat, but Lucia refuses. She cries until she falls asleep. That night, the tin can telephone rolls near the bed. Diego picks it up and feels something pulling from the other end. He throws it outside, but it rolls back. Curious, he puts it to his ear and hears someone trying to play I Spy. He throws it again and closes the door. Panicking, he unties his mother and tells her to get up. They try to escape, but the beast is already inside. Diego tells Lucia to hide while he distracts it, throwing objects, but soon discovers that she has disappeared. He finds her at the dining table, with short hair, the red dress, and rocking a wooden doll as if it were a baby. She talks to someone imaginary, thinking Salvador is there, which frightens Diego. With time running out, Diego says he needs to go to the bathroom and asks Lucia to accompany him to get her out of the house. But she pushes him and leaves him outside, saying the beast wants her. Diego tries to force his way in with an axe while he hears Lucia screaming. Upon entering, he sees her bloodied on the floor with a knife. In the corner, the beast slowly approaches. Despite the fear, Diego faces the creature and shouts at it to stay away from his mother. His bravery seems to work. The beast retreats. He shoots it at point-blank range, but fails to kill it. Then he sprays the house with gasoline and sets it on fire, carrying his mother outside. He reaches a swamp, stops to give her water, but she has already died. Devastated, he leaves her in the water, accepting her death. Suddenly, he sees the beast in front of him again, but it does not attack him because Diego shows no fear. He looks at his hands and notices wounds similar to his father. He covers the wounds with pieces of Lucia's red dress and remembers the happy moments with his mother before walking away toward unknown lands.